So when sampling for mosquito larvae, you want to come in at an angle and allow the water to fill your dipper cup. And if possible, you don't want to cast a shadow over top of the water surface. The mosquito larvae are very sensitive to any kind of movement within the water column as well as shadows. It's an indication of possible predator. And so you want to try to do as little impact to the aquatic habitat with any kind of movement or shadows as possible. Allow the water again to come into your dipper cup, and then that will allow you to survey what you've sampled without causing, you're not going to dip in very sporadically and cause the larva to dive down. The larvae are actually breathing at the water surface with a small siphon, and so again, any kind of motion is going to cause those larvae to respond by dropping down to the lower benthic level, the lower reaches of the site, rather than being at the surface for you to be able to collect them. One of the problems of this site is, while it should hold water for some period of time, the development of these bulrush and the algae that's developed has really impeded any kind of flow. You can tell that the basin has some curvature to it, and so it's really kind of pooling that water in the center. And while it may dry up or drain down, if that was cleared out, that may help with allowing the water to permeate the soil faster rather than being bound up in the root structure of this vegetation.
I'm sure if you'd be able to see them, possibly. See little swimmers? There's one right there. Yep. There they go. Mm-hmm.
So getting rid of this stuff, if you have this in any of your ornamental ponds, while the fish and the other aquatic insects, they may like the shade, it really is fostering a good habitat for the mosquito larvae too. Most mosquitoes will emerge or develop through their life cycle within 7 to 10 days. The two West Nile virus vectors that we have locally are Culex tarsalis and Culex pipiens that we see most commonly. I've seen larvae exist in a small little Dixie cup that just had a little bit of leaf litter in there, or a solo cup. I've seen that too. Just the smallest little amount of water for them to survive, that will allow them to go through their life cycle. Again, the female's trying to look for a larval habitat that allows a reduction of competition, so trying to minimize the amount of other larvae that are feeding on those food sources. So those small containers are perfect habitats for our ornamental mosquito, our Culex pipiens. And we create a lot of the habitat for Culex pipiens. Probably the biggest way that grounds managers could reduce mosquito populations is just watching for those wet areas, allowing, if they've overwatered or maybe it's rained and they weren't able to catch their sprinkler systems in time, and so an area was watered twice, really let those spots dry out so you don't have that soggy, saturated grass that can become a viable standing pocket for mosquito larvae. Probably the second most important thing is just make sure to minimize that standing water. If there are pockets, to clean out any of the grass clippings. That more or less is kind of one of the techniques that we use for trapping mosquitoes, is we use alfalfa or grass hay and water to make a gravid solution. And so that's more or less what happens when you have a collection of grass clippings within a stagnant pocket of water. So that would be another way, is just get rid of those areas where you've got vegetation buildup.
Do you recommend using larvicides as a preventative?
Most certainly. It's very easy for grounds managers as well. If they're not in a control area where maybe we could come out to help them, or they want to manage their own properties, most certainly they can purchase mosquito dunks. Or I know of one company that sells just a jug of, they call it BTI bits, and they're just the same granule product that we use, and they have it in a shaker container that you could shake right into those small little pockets of standing water.